It's cold, and I can tell there's somebody here. My view count on my channel shows me that there are 2 people. I think that actually just means my browser. Yeah, my browser. This is going to go back to 1. Anyway. It's a me problem. It's not a you problem. Here in a jungle, this cartoon ape loves to make games. And then I also like to play games. And it's kind of in that order. Get used to it. I know, it's Twitch. Don't I play games? Yeah, Yes. But making games is what I would do for fun, normally. And an example of that is small towers. You know it. Small towers. They're small. They build towers. Get it? But I say anyone can make games, and people are like, no. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah. And I say, prove it. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about what design is for real. Let's make sure that you understand what we're talking about, and then we'll, design something. Let's design a game. And we did. There's a game. And we kind of got through the core gameplay. And then last time on Design Chat, I said, okay, we'll keep going. I said, we're going to make levels for this game now that the core gameplay is done. So I said, we kind of already have level 1. It's very simple. Level 2 can just be a wall. You're trying to get in here. Level 3, we'll put more walls and make it a small, easy maze. Level 4 can be a tough maze, and that's fine for these levels, and we could go on if we needed to, but step 1, let's look at the walls. And wouldn't you know, we ran into problems with walls. And Design Workshop said, hold my coffee, because, coffee is very, very important in the jungle. Design Workshop tackled this problem and wrestled it to the ground. And after a little bit of thinking, we said, we really just need one rule. Our problem was our player could, find a way to cheat through walls, just wiggle a little bit. And in fact, even bumping against a wall was like a little jitter. That jitter could actually get them to wiggle through walls, especially when one wall was next to another. So Design Workshop tackled the problem by adding a rule. Get that. Design Workshop did rules for us. Isn't that nice? Go Design Workshop. The rule is simply that we're going to teleport the player a little tiny bit every frame. That's how we move. But before we commit to that part of the move, let's test and see if there's something solid there. Does it sound familiar? It's like the rule adds the design process into our character movement. Test before we move on, yeah? Isn't that nice? Anyway, they did that. And so it now means that we don't cheat through walls, and that's great. So now we can come back to our level design effort. And the first thing I think we need to do, honestly, is put up walls around the edge of level 1 and level 2 and go on from there. In fact, wait a minute. Why don't we have walls around the menu? Ooh, wait a minute. Let's try and break the game. Remember that we did that before? We tried to break the game, and turns out we found really useful things to work on next. Very, very helpful to try and break the game. Let's do that for a second. I'm in the menu now. Isn't this fun game fun? It's cool. It says jump in. It says this is you. It says use WASD to move. And then it says go here to begin. And I say, awesome, I love this. And I'm going this way. Bye. So I'm just continuing to hold A. Now I'm going to hold D or S for a little while. Then I'll let go of A and I'll hold D for a little while. And I'll let go of S and just hold D for a little while. Okay, I have no idea where I am. I have no idea where I am. If I'm lucky, I could do W and D and maybe see the character cruise by the screen. Okay, that was lucky. That was lucky. But I'm telling you, that could break the game. Imagine the menu is sitting there and it says this is you, but there's nobody there. Whoops. We just broke the game. I mean, that was easy, right? He just hides behind the screen. That's it. That's how you break the game. So let's go ahead and put a wall right here. Let's put a wall here so you can't actually get off this screen. In fact, what if you're like over here and it says this is you? That doesn't make sense, does it? You know, if we're trying to break the game, let's recognize that this would also be kind of broken, right? You know, I'm playing around. Ooh, this is great. I'm not gonna play the game though. I'm just going to goof off or something. Like this, right? We have a mechanism here to like recover if they totally ignore the game. It won't break because there's a timer. So they may jump in and say yes or no, but if they don't, there's a timer and it will automatically say, no, I'm not going to replay, go back to the menu. So when the timer's up, we come back here. Yay. So that kind of mechanism that recovers because that could be a way you break the game, well, we need to do the same thing here. First of all, can't get off the screen. We got to make that happen. But also, I think being over here doesn't make sense. We have to let the player play around with the character. We want that. But if they like do this a little bit and then like walk away, the next player, think about that. So could we put a little timer and teleport him back here, or maybe even gracefully move him back here? Wow, that would be stylish if he could, like, on his own decide to just sort of come back here. That would be nice. At least, at minimum, we should teleport it back here. So this is you makes some sense. Yeah, I think we need to do that. So step one, let's actually, so that's what I mean. We might have some work to do there. But boundaries, yeah, that we actually want to make sure boundaries are in there. And then we also wanted to test walls, and I think our walls are solid. But let's see what Design Workshop did with our walls. Oh, they're very thin. They're very thin. Do you remember us talking about like the thickness of the walls and why this might be too thin? Okay, well the good news is they seem to be solid. We can't cheat through them anymore. We used to be able to go diagonal like through here and cheat through them. I mean, we can't do that anymore. That's good. But this is, these walls are pretty thin. And there was another concern we had too. Yeah, this is good. These are solid walls. That solved that problem. Good job, Design Workshop. But, okay, so we have some work to do. I think these should be thicker. Also, if you recall, I'm going to hide my avatar. If you recall, the way that these walls should be placed in a level, see the very faint grid here? If they are able to be locked on the grid, 0, 0, 0 right now, and I hold Control and then move it, it'll stay on the grid in 1 unit increments. If I let go of control and move it around, it'll move freely, but I don't want it to. I actually would love it to stay on the grid for those reasons I talked about. It's really common when you're putting together a level design to have pieces that aren't locked to the grid showing little gaps here and there. And yeah, I showed it last time. I need to kind of show it again, actually, this time. So let's do that. First of all, let's get these wall pieces back to the size we had them before and explore a bit, like, why this needed to change. Because I think what Design Workshop said was they don't work no more. Also, I will go ahead and demonstrate the problem that I'm talking about. If I'm like trying to match these up, I'm trying to line these up like this, I can get really close. I can do that, right? But if I'm looking at it, wow, that actually is really close. No, I want to show the problem. Okay, let's say that one looks great. Now I'm going to put this one over here. Okay, so I'm lining up there, and that's really, there you go. Okay. It's very, very I'm artificially putting the mistake in there, but it's very common to have that little tiny gap there. And what it really means is these numbers aren't exactly whole numbers or any kind of logical increment. They're just messy. In fact, this one probably is too. Yeah, this one is too. I mean, I think I came really close, actually. So I could manually do the math and find these numbers and do that, but like, wow, we want to do this quickly. You know what I want to be able to do? I want to be able to hold down control and go boop, 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 beep, beep, beep. This is where I want to move this, and I'm going to hold down control and do rotation like this, and I'm just going to... That's how fast I want to move. That's how quickly I want to build this level. And so there's some thinking we're doing right now to say, can we please set up a hull piece? That's why we did this. Can we set up a hull piece as a prefab? Right? Not just a wall piece, a single wall. There it is. A single wall. But a hull piece, two walls, right? That are the right thickness and are the correct spacing. Like right now, this spacing, I think this is why we had to make the change. Like this is fine, of course, but I try to get in here and I cannot, which is an indicator that before, what was really going on was we were cheating through walls just to get inside the hallway. It was so thin that our character literally couldn't fit inside. I think it was exactly the width of the character. And now that our walls are properly solid, it's like we're not going to fit in there. I think you could potentially, like theoretically, but I think it's not practical. Meaning, let's change it. That's why these walls got thinner. So if they were thinner, we would have room. I'm pretty sure we could just make them a little bit thinner, like this much thinner. See, look, there's some gaps right there. I think this would work. Yeah, totally, actually. And visually, that was the other concern. How thick should the walls be visually? This it still feels like a wall. It's solid. It's a compromise. It's not as thick as it was before, but this works. Okay. Maybe this is the thickness then. I don't know. I liked the thicker one for sure. Is there a way to make that one work? I guess we could check that. But okay, so that's why these are thinner, and we can work with that. Our job is to make so the wall piece that is this thick visually looks a little too thin, is what we're saying. Let's go ahead and try to make it the thickness we wanted, because I thought we did a pretty good job before. And if that's true, then the hull piece is not correct. Let's stop for a second. Oh, right. We were playing the whole time. So while we're in play mode, we're able to do all kinds of things to the thing in the level. Yes, we can change properties, and the Unity engine allows us to mess with things while the simulation is running. But as soon as I hit stop, it intentionally wants to go back to exactly the way we configured this level and the way it's been saved. In fact, the time we hit play is what it wants to go back to, including the thinner wall pieces, including an extra piece that wasn't here before, an extra hull piece, I think. So all of those went away because this is what it was like when I hit play before. That's why. Excuse me while I sip some coffee. Thank you. That will keep me going. So, I once directed a play where an actor portrayed the main character. The main character was a vampire who has been living for centuries on coffee, not blood. Yeah, it was a strange play. Anyway, let's say I need to delete some of these. We are still figuring out what the prefab things should be. I will save this scene. I want to go back and try a proper wall piece size that is, 0.25. Actually, yeah, let's. So here's the prefabs. These are copies of the initial prefabs here. So if I drag in a new one, there's another copy. Drag in another one, there's another copy, right? Well, I've modified them, and I can just barely tell because this is actually bolded. This 0.01 is bolded. This number is bolded to tell me that there's been a change here, and there could be several changes in this copy because there is an original, and all the originals will follow the same thing. But notice, like, I dragged in a new copy and it's thick. That's because the original is thick still. This copy we made thin in this scene because, like I said, Unity, like all game engines, would like to save how you configured all the elements in your scene, including that scale. So this has bolded to tell me this copy of the wall piece prefab has been modified in this way, this scale right here. It's interesting because you could decide, well, this is better. I want the main one, the original, to have this, and you can overwrite it. Or you can say, I would like to reset it back to what, revert it back to what the original is. So I could apply this to the original, or I can revert it right from here, this little thing right here. And this is only available on prefab copies, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to say revert. Thank you. Do the same thing here. I'll say revert. So now they look like the originals, and they also are thick, like that. Okay, cool. So again, the wall piece looks correct. The hull piece doesn't actually work this way. And here's why. If I hit play, am I able to control the character? No, I need to actually be focused on the game window. Okay. I will remove my actor. So here's our guy. And the problem really is can't get in, right? So it's not the thickness that we're worried about anymore. It's actually the placement. like here's the center of the hull piece that we could hold down control and lock on the grid for easy manipulation, and we definitely want this. In fact, we haven't even talked about the length of this yet, but we will. Right now we're just managing the width of this hull, because this is going to be so much easier to say place a hull piece in there because our character is going to go through. So 1 is at an X position of negative 0.65. All right. The other one is a X position of positive 0.65. Okay. Believe it or not, this is a nice happy medium between, well, it's in the middle. The center of this, the parent object called hull piece, is in the middle. And these children are to either side. That's what that means. So they need to just be further apart, right? But I want to think about this in a way that makes sense. If I have a couple of hull pieces next to each other, like that isn't, I can't fit in there and I'm wasting space. Ideally, I can just go boop, boop, boop and set a bunch of these together. You know, even if it's like this is on top of this and I remove one, right, so that it makes sense. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet, but this needs to be wider. Oh, let's do a tiny bit of math. Hold on. This is 0.25 in thickness, meaning 0.25 of these units, like 1/4 of these units. 1/4 for this wall, 1/4 for this wall. That equals 1/2. Aha. So if I say, I want this to be in the middle, and I'm looking at this, and it's on the grid. Hold on. The parent object is on the grid. If I'm looking at this and I want this to be even, well, shoot, don't I want this to be like there, actually? Something like this? Now that's really wide. That's losing a lot of... That's losing a lot, actually. Can we adjust what our grid spacing is? Is that possible? I don't know. Snapping to the grid. Okay. In increments? Can I do increments? I don't know. I can change the grid size. Maybe that's the same thing. Is that the same thing? Yes, it is. Okay, so now it's going to snap. So I'm just messing with these settings here in the scene panel. This is show the grid or not. This is snapping the grid. So now if I hold down control, it's actually moving on 0.5. Okay. Yeah, this hallway would be way too big. Like it's just, come on, that's kind of goofy. I want to use a lot of the screen. I want to comfortably show the character inside a hallway. Let's do this. This is, again, 1/4 of a unit. This is a 1/4 of a unit as well, which means together they make up 1/2 a unit. I want 1 unit in between? No, I need more than 1 unit. I need 1.5, I think. Like this. 7.5 and negative 7.5, something like this. This is a decent size to move around in. And it should be, if I use this new grid that's half the size, right? I changed the size of the grid here. If I use that, I think this will work. We need to make a little maze and like test this out. But visually, I like the size of the walls. It definitely works. You definitely can't cheat. And I can fit through a hallway. And the hallway is able to be set on a grid easily. I have a question though. If I put a bunch of these on the grid, do they line up well? And vertically, is the wall a good size to line them up well? This is a square, is it not? The hallway. Yeah, this is a square. Bro, this might actually work. Let's test. If I put another one over here. Okay, so yeah, this actually lines right up on top of another when I do that. Which I guess means it wouldn't matter if I just left it there, which is sloppy, but, you know, technically I guess it would still totally work. Yeah. Cool. What about this? What about when I'm still holding down control while I move? Like to keep it on the grid at all times. In fact, I kind of wish there was a control lock at this point because I'm going to always want it to be locked to the screen, to the grid, excuse me. Oh, and this needs to be locked as well. How come that didn't happen? Hold down control and here we go. So that it does like 15-degree increments, which is fantastic. And now it's not pleasant. So I just rotated it 90 degrees. What's the length of these wall pieces? 2? Why is that a problem? Hold on. This definitely looks square. I mean, is it not square? I'm just going to make a quad for comparison. Is this not the same size exactly as this square? Oh, it isn't. It is not. Oh. Well, all right then. Good to know. I'm glad we measured. So what does this mean? What does that mean? I mean, what I'm looking at is, extra hall pieces that are sort of configured and moved around and then set next to each other. Well, they could work like this, but like, yeah, there's this gap and this extra wasted space. Visually, I know I cannot fit in there, and that makes sense. But I'm wasting space on the screen, right? I mean, maybe that's okay. I don't know. Um, hmm. Dare we change the grid again? I don't know. We could do it this way. What if we did this? We said, okay, actually, yeah, let's do a smaller grid size. And with that, now I should be able to hold down control and move it. Yeah, so now it's actually showing me a full grid, 1 unit grid thing. But when I hold down the control key, it's snapping to a 1/4 unit. So I can put the things next to each other. I can do this. I can rotate this 90 degrees. How easy is it to manipulate this? Not. That's awful. Why isn't this working? Why would that be a problem? Oh, because this isn't exactly square. This is not exactly square, and, hmm. It seems like if it were... Yeah, this would work a lot better. Oops, what just happened? There we go. If it were exactly square, this would be fantastic. I could build a level based on 2x2 pieces. It looks like I've got 3 vertically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horizontally, at least in this size. And we could change the size of our camera at any time, actually. So what I'm playing with is this last measurement here. It looks like a length of 2 for our wall piece is fine, and our halls at the same length is great. It just means that now there's this tiny little gap to the edge of what would be a perfect square. I know, but once we figure this out, it'll be fast. This is... Boy, this feels like a very comfortable... Oh, it's funny. I actually have a problem running into this cube, even though I just made it. That's funny. I mean, that's proper. It is a solid cube, actually. It comes with collision. But this hallway feels comfortable. I should be able to move around in this easily. It's easy to figure out what's going on. And all right, let's actually try to build something then. Let's see if we can do this. If this is what a hall piece is, these are 0.75 and negative 0.75 apart. If I hit stop, it's all going to reset. Boop, there. So I'm going to set 7.5 and negative 7.5 on this copy of the prefab, and then overwrite. I have to pick the top node. Overwrite the... I'm going to apply all instead of reverting to what the original says, which is, now old. The new spacing, I'm going to apply it to the original. This means that when I drag in a new hall piece, it has the proper spacing. Isn't that nice? All right. Let's do this. I think this wall piece is fine. But what we're going to test is what happens when we try to make right. I think I know what's going to happen. I mean, okay. I'm not overthinking it. You're overthinking it. So here's, yeah, we have no problem doing this. And even if there's like this gap in the wall, we know we can't go in there. That's true. But I'm telling you right now, the player has a need to see the walls as solid walls. It needs to be simple. This is a little bit of confusion, at least a minor little bit of what's that about? And does that matter? And should I be paying attention to it and doing something with it? No. So there's a need for the player to just not have that little gap. Oh my. What if we put little end caps on each of these things? Because what I'm saying is, the spacing was 0.5. And if we drag in another hall piece, yeah, this is a gap that sits there. Just like if we bring it up here. Oh, that's actually the issue. I see. The length is 2. And that's even. Like, that's proper. But the width is not 2. That's the issue. That's the issue. Okay. So, what do we do about that? I'm going to stop and delete these for a second. We actually want to make this hull piece somehow also a width of 2. Could I just make these thicker? Yeah. They could be very thick. They could be very thick and a little bit further apart, and I think the number is 825. Negative 825. This is now a square. It sure doesn't look like it. Is that true? That can't be true. The same width on the inside. The walls look exceedingly thick and solid. This is overkill. This is too much, right? If I do have a quad here, and it's the size of 2, and we're measuring, oh, it is 2. It's exactly 2. Wow, that's an optical illusion. It doesn't look like this is exactly a width of 2, but it is. Oh, it's not. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Look, 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 look. Well, then I messed up. Not 825. Oh my goodness, is it 8125? Oh goodness, this is really, really fiddly. What we've done here, this is an easy way to think about it. Hold on. Is it just 7.5? Oh, wait a minute. That can't be right. I'm measuring though. I'm testing, and it measures exactly right. Can we fit in here? No, we can't. Oh, this thickness. Okay. What we got is a square. What we don't have is a hallway. If we kept the edges the same width and just made the walls thinner. Well, first of all, I want the walls thinner. This is too thick. It is. What if I said, well, these walls really aren't 2.5. And again, this looks okay. It's just got a gap. It feels like wasted space. And more importantly, when we do turn it 90 degrees, there's an issue. Now we could put a little corner piece there, but I want to do this fast. I don't want to do it slow. I'm doing this work now slow so I can move fast later. We want to make levels and levels and levels, and we don't want to keep fiddling with little things. I'm trying to minimize the little things we have to fiddle with. That's why I'm spending the time on this now. So, in short, if these were the thick size that we can't fit into, it would fit. No, it wouldn't. Oh, wow. Right. It would not fit. So do we have to do this anyway? Hold on. Is that true? Do we have to make, I think a new prefab that would be like, I will move this in place where the intersection is, and I will call it a corner piece. Or how about intersection piece? All right. Because if I'm going to place halls in there and I do this, there's the strong potential, in fact, guaranteed problem of this. If I have, what, 0.25? No, it's going to have to be 0.5. Let's try this. Oh, not a cube. No, 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 no. We're doing 2D. Thank you. Okay. I'm playing. We're going to fix this in just a second. But I need to know what the answer is first. I think we could put a piece that fits right here. And yeah, it's actually going to have to be doing this. I think our hall pieces and stuff could actually be placed on the grid that is 0.25 and 0.25. You're not going to be able to get through that though, right? Right. Because my thought was, well, shoot, we can just have 4 of these. I'm just copying and pasting and then moving it around. So, like literally Control-C, then Control-V to paste new copies of it. And moving them around. But this actually means I can't move through here. Is that true? Yeah, I can't even move right now. The character's blinking, but I can't move. Because we said you cannot move if it tests that you're in a wall. So, yeah, I can't get in there. Because it's exactly the same thickness problem we had before. So, what I'm really thinking about is corners that are specific. Not 0.25. Although that looks kind of cool. I like the graphic look there. I mean, and now we can actually fit through, right? This intersection piece would be great. In fact, we could lay one down and delete any ones we're not using, so we could have T intersections or corners or whatever we want. Meanwhile, I just throw down these hallway pieces and it's really fast and easy, just sticking to the grid. This also sticks to the grid, so it's really easy. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. That's why I'm spending the time. So if, first of all, let's call them corner. Let's make sure they are, they have the material that looks like a wall. There we go. So I'm going to shift select the top one and then shift select the bottom one to get all of them. And wall. That's the material. There we go. So now it looks like a wall. This is looking better, right? I know as soon as I hit stop, this is all going to go away. I know that. But there is an intersection piece, and I'm going to shift select all corners and parent it under this. So this is now, if I hold down Control, I'm able to move this around. Oh, wait, stop. I'm going to move the grid spacing back to what it was, which is not 0.25, but 0.5. Fiddly stuff. Okay, now, this is really easy to move around. I'm holding down Control, it's staying on the grid, and that's exactly where it needs to be. Okay. The only issue is that little gap. That and the fact that this is going to go away when I hit stop, right? Let me show you the trick. Because it's true, when I hit stop, Unity is going to reset my entire level back to what I had originally set it to. When I hit play, it saves where it was there, and then while I'm playing, I can mess with it exactly like I've been doing. I added this square, I moved this around, I did all that stuff. But when I hit stop, it goes back to the way this scene was set, because that's how it's meant to work. But what if I make something cool, like this intersection piece, and I don't want it to go away? Well, let me show you the trick. the trick is this. I'm going to select, this is now all one object, but I could shift select multiple objects, and I'm going to say copy. Now I'm going to stop, and all that stuff reset. But I'm just going to come back here and say paste. Boom. I saved it. Cool. This means I can continue to work on what I think is going to be a new prefab. We have already adjusted these, though. Let's do that. This needs to be 0.25. Is that what we just said? No, we're going to revert this. That's what's going on. Here we go. And I'll save the scene where it is now. So let's measure this by making an extra hull piece, moving it up here like we would, and rotating it 90 degrees on the grid just like we would. Okay, and then moving it over like we would. We're saying like this is sort of building our maze. And I'm sure there's more to it, but I think we got something here we can work with. I mean, what we have is a couple of building blocks. A single wall is one thing, but I think the hull piece began a process of building blocks to make mazes. So that's what we're goofing with now. At the moment, we're going to worry about this gap in between the hallway walls and this new intersection corner. It just needs to be a little bigger, right? Just needs to be a little bit wider, right? And a little bit moved over so that when we look at it, it looks like it's just meeting that, right? And the same with our height, right? So it's like this. Now I know I was just eyeballing it, and I know for a fact that is going to be an ugly number. But let's look at it, make it right, and then we'll set the other three to be the right thing. Let's go check it out. This is a very ugly number. But where are we? 3, 3? 3, 6? Is it 3, 6, 2, 5? And this number is 0.81, blah, blah, blah. Is it 8125? I don't know. I'm recognizing these numbers and trying this out, but we're going to have to zoom in and check it. Zoom? Yeah, it is not, because I can see a little gap. So it looks like the scale is all we need to mess with. The position is actually right. That's what I can see. Because if I scale it wider in to the left and right, it'll match. Because right now this is a gap, that is a gap, as well as these. So wider and taller scale, I think, is correct. Oh, I don't know. Is this 7.5? Maybe? It's hard to see where the edges of these two things are, but I can change it from showing us the rendered version of this object to the wireframe version of this object. Ooh, they line up. I can see the lines. And I don't just see one, sorry, I only see one line because they're exactly on top of each other, which means that is the right map. Yay. Okay, cool. So all that was to find this number, or these numbers, I should say. What I kind of want to do is make sure all of the corners are this scale, X and Y. Let's do that. Boop, and boop. Okay. And now I want to make sure that the numbers kind of look like this, but I'm sure this is going to be different for each one. Yeah, this is positive, negative. This one was positive, positive. This one is negative, positive. And this last one's going to be negative, negative. There we go. Okay. So, intersection piece, intersection piece. I am showing wireframe on top of it, it looks like. Yeah. Cool. At least in the scene view, I can see the wireframe on top of the object that I have highlighted. Awesome. This is what I wanted to get so that we can just say, I'm going to move this on the grid. In fact, I'm going to move it on the grid in 1 unit increments and see if this works, because that would be fast and easy, and oh my goodness, this is going to work good. I'm going to save my scene to make sure I don't lose this work. I'm going to make this intersection piece that is a collection of things, just like our hall piece. Our hall piece is an empty game object with 2 walls as children. This intersection piece is an empty game object. In fact, I'll set this at 0, 0. With 4 corners on it, and I'm going to just click and drag this into the project. I'm going to put it in a folder where our other prefabs are for environment, and drop it. This now made it a prefab. This turned blue. It is now a copy of the original, and I can drag in a new copy. Look how slick that is. That means, what does this mean? It means we should be able to start building mazes quickly, if I'm not mistaken. Let's keep trying because we might find new things to do, but I'm literally just, my grid is now a space of 1. I'm holding down control and I'm just very quickly taking prefabs, throwing them down, holding down control, and moving them in place. This is very easy to do now. If I need to make a maze this way, this is not hard at all. This is really easy to do now because we spent some time. And it starts to look like this. Nice. So, I don't think we can make complex mazes this large, right? We need to pull the camera back. But in terms of the size of our character and the size of the walls, we are actually really good to go because the walls work, right? We cannot cheat through any walls or corners. We can lay down hallways and intersections quite easily. And I'm sure we could build more if we needed more. Like, what if we just want an intersection like a turn? You know, like an L-shaped thing. So it's like an intersection piece or corner piece. Well, actually, we could just build this, right? If I take, I'm going to try and make a L shape here. Okay. A straight, and just leave a corner in this side here. So let's try that. First thing I'll do is lay down a corner. Boop, boop. Okay. So this is an intersection piece with 4 corners, right? I am free to remove and change this copy all I want. So I'll just remove 3 of the corners. Why not? I'm going to lay down a hall piece. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. And I'm free to just remove one of the walls. No problem. new hall piece. Boop, 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 boop. And rotate it. Okay, this almost works. I can delete this one. And I've kind of made an L piece. Does this work? I mean, it works in terms of like being a wall. It doesn't look fantastic in terms of the little thingy here. I mean, I guess I could keep another corner on this side, actually, and just cover that up. I could do that. I mean, I'm just stacking a bunch of things on top of each other, and that's kind of silly, but I'm only testing this. Yeah, I'll keep that one, delete these, so it would look like that. Okay, so if we test this now, this is a fast way to make a maze, because we can do L shapes, we can do four-way intersections, we could do a T intersection the same way. We just keep the walls we want, keep the corners we want, delete the rest. And we can use the corner pieces of the intersection and the wall pieces of the hallway section and just build what we need to. I think that's true. I'm trying to rake the process of making a maze and see if there's anything I can't do, and right now I don't see anything. So, cool. What we've designed, should we keep this maze? Sure. Why not? I will shift select all of this stuff. From here to here, because I think the rest was already there. I will say copy, I'll stop, and oh, most of that level was already there. Okay, well, we can still paste. I think the L piece is this, yeah, totally. Okay, so this is not a maze, but it is testing how we would make a maze. If we wanted to make a dead end, that's a good question. Can we do that? Like, that's not very clean. But I could do this. And this. And I think now it's clean if I remove that. Yeah, that's pretty clean. Right? That looks okay. It's got a style to it. Now, the reason why I'm actually, yeah, there is a neat style to it. But I'm keen on making sure that we can always keep the pieces that we make for our maze inside a 2x2 square. Our character is 1 by 1. And the walls are thin enough that this 1 by 1 character can move around freely within the hallways and intersections. But within a 2 by 2 square, we can put any one of these types of maze pieces, like a hallway or a four-way intersection or an L shape. We could do a T shape for sure, and now we can also do a dead end like this. All right then. And we have 3 pieces to work with. Actually, we only use 2 of them. We only use the hall and intersection. Yeah. The rest is just built by putting pieces together, you know. I want to make a dead end, no problem. I will move these over. Boop, boop. And I will remove the parts I don't need. Oop. Done. And save. So, yeah. We can make mazes. But, hold on. Did I accidentally? I did. I accidentally. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So when I hit play, blink, our little guy can move around. And he's got just enough room to move freely and to know that he can move and to go into an intersection. I think this works. You can slide around and get around a corner, no problem. No problem. Yeah. In terms of like moving freely, we still have that. In terms of the walls not allowing you to cheat, like this right here, if we like we would be cheating all through this maze if we didn't fix that problem before. But now that we fixed it, it is solid, which is nice. I even like this graphic look of the walls here. This is neat. Okay. We're done playing? I think we're done playing. What we actually tried to do is break it. The first thing we did was say, hold on, we can break the menu. Let's go back to the menu. And we said, yeah, we should put walls around here. Well, now we can do that. We can actually do that right now. The menu really should have a folder for this stuff so that it's easy to deal with. There are no folders in the hierarchy. There are folders in the project, like these are actual folders in the file system. But in our project, these are just game objects sitting here, and they can be parented, but that's not technically a folder. I could, for example, move or scale the parent, and all the children would move with it, and that's not what we want. Let's do this. I'm going to drag in 4 intersection pieces. I'm going to drag in hall pieces in a second, but first, let's move this to the corner. And I'm eyeballing it a little bit because as soon as it's off screen, I'm calling that good. And I'll get my avatar out of the way. And I will keep one corner and delete the other 3. And I'll do the same thing. Next intersection piece, I'm going to move it down and to the left until, I don't see it. And then I'm going to keep the top right and remove the other 3. There we go. What it was doing, keep the bottom left and remove the other 3. What it was just doing then is it saw me trying to reparent one object to another, and me deleting objects out of this hierarchy is something like a modification to this original. Me reparenting and changing the structure of it is something that Unity is saying, hold on, are you trying to restructure the original? Because if you are, you can. No, we didn't want to do that. Okay, so again, I'm going to make sure it is just out of frame. And I will keep that one and delete the other 3 so that I have corners. And the reason why I'm doing this, first of all, it's practice. I'm going to be making lots of levels, it looks like. I can find extra problems with this thing if I play around with it a little bit more. Hi. The gizmo in the top right corner of the scene panel is getting in the way. Going to get rid of 3 of them. No, I'm going to get rid of those 3 and keep that one. There. Okay, so now the corners are set. I'm just going to add hall pieces. I think so. I'm really not thinking I'm going to use the wall pieces. Why is this not lining up? Are these not in the same place? They should be. I'm confusion. Did we not just set this so that this would be exactly in the right place? Is the grid spacing not correct? Oh, that's weird. I see. Let's hold up. 1 second. We're going to put walls on this thing. I'm now wondering if I need these intersection pieces at all here in the menu. I just want to put walls all the way around it. I think we can do that. If I drag in a wall piece and just sort of fit it in place, I can totally do that. But, in fact, how tall should this be? Like 8? 6? 5? There we go. 6. So we could do something like this, and that would be okay, right? I would actually want it to be off screen, right? So that's fine, but what I ran into is the idea that, hold on, if I have wall pieces, like the halls coming together seem to work fine until I tried to put it in this way. So, what, 8? No, 10? There we go. So, yeah, what I was actually trying to make is a corner. And this is an ugly corner that we wouldn't want in our level design. We're not going to see this because this is literally off screen according to the menu and stuff. But, yeah, I'm not thrilled with that. I'm not thrilled with that at all. This doesn't look right. Oh, right, we're in perspective. Right, okay. So, okay, there's a few things going on. First of all, this would do the job because you won't be able to get off this screen. But it looks ugly. I'm not thrilled with seeing the walls here. In fact, I don't want the walls here. I'm certain I don't. So even if we do nothing more than just move these out, I'd be cool with that. But in the process of testing that and playing with it, I also saw that we're going to have an issue whenever we want to do this kind of corner. This kind of corner, we do a hallway? Hold on, I need to test that because I ran into a problem and I think it's a problem. Okay, so this is, yeah, we can't actually get off screen. You get partly off screen. You can't actually get out. Good. Okay. So in terms of like not letting the player break it, this works. We're able to fix that issue. But I would not want to leave the walls on screen, and when it's off screen, we have an issue. I want to be able to say this, give me a hall piece, and I'm going to just keep it on the grid, and move it over until it's like, until the right side wall is off screen. Right? That's kind of exactly what I want right there. And then I want to delete this one. Okay. Now, if I copy and paste this thing and continue to, just build pieces that are connected, right? Cool. I've got these 3 prefabs effectively being the right side wall. It's just off screen. Cool. And in fact, why don't I just copy and paste and drag this on the other side till it's just off screen. Cool. So I have left and right side, right? So what's wrong with just making this out of hall pieces? Well, I think, first of all, let's do this 90 degrees. And let's move this up until the top one is just off screen. I'm going to delete the bottom piece of that, just the same as what we just did. And just to prove the point, either we're going to get this done, or this is going to be proving the point. I need to do it this way. This is just really cumbersome. Okay. This is where we're running into the issue. This gap could easily be too big because I think the character can fit right through it. So I'll put this one on the bottom, just off screen. Yeah. Why is this like... Oh, because... This is the right side of the hallway, and I duplicated it. This is the top side of the hallway, and I duplicated it. So this is actually incorrect. I wouldn't want to do that. Do I fix the issue if I do it correctly? I don't think so. Delete. I'm going to do this again. The issue is I'm going to see, this is going to go just off screen, there. And I will delete the top one. And now duplicate and move this around. Okay. So I can have these overlap, sure. But otherwise, I'm worried about this gap. On this side, I can see the problem that I'm worried about. There's a gap now big enough that I think the character can go right through, and we don't really have a solution for a gap this big. Even an intersection corner won't fill that. So we don't really have a solution for what happens when we want... Like I'm a little confused. Why is this 2x2 square not cleanly working the way I think it's going to work? 2x2. That's what these pieces are set on. So what we're looking at is this problem right here. This would be... No, wait a minute. Why is this off? Look how off that wall is. I'm confusion. I took a hull piece and said go to the edge. How is that any different than using this quad sitting in the center? Oh, it wasn't sitting in the center, that's why. Bad. Reset. Okay. 2 by 2. Now, move it over. Okay, so that... No, that's not right. How is this any different than this? It's not. What's going on? I'm confused. Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, that and this is what I expect. Right. So there is a gap that is, I can just nudge this back a little bit. There's a gap big enough for the character to go through. Let's test that theory. I'm going to go through the wall. Oh, I need to get this thing out of the way. Bye-bye. Oh, okay, so I can't get through. That's true. Okay. I mean, I think that's just lucky, though. When we want an L... Yeah, this is lucky. When I want an L shape... Hold on. Is this simpler than I think it is? Hold on, this might be simpler. I'm sorry. Take this hull piece. And this is what I did before. I said this, and then I'm going to delete the inner wall. What if I delete the outer wall? Then I could use the corners down here, correct? No, actually. No, I can't fix it that way. Okay. So, yes, we can put the walls around the, we can put walls around the menu and fix this issue, yes. I have a feeling these hull pieces are not correct. But we can do this, right? Delete that one. Okay. So, yay. However, there's something about this that I'm seeing where we may have a situation like this in our mazes, and that gap is visually way too big, at least. It might be even a problem for the player in terms of looking like they can squeeze through because it's actually a gap. But they can't, and they shouldn't be able to. If I put an intersection piece there, it actually doesn't help. Right? This is what we had before, and that totally doesn't help. That would visually look just weird. It would look like, oh, there's a little gap, and am I supposed to pay attention to it? But no, you cannot, and you can't get through. It doesn't help to have that corner. So this is a case in our maze construction that I think we actually need to solve. This is literally a half a hull piece. Is that true? I think it is. Otherwise, we have all the pieces of this puzzle put together. Wait, this is not half. Why is this so complicated? This can't be this complicated. I'm sure it has to do with that gap between hallways. I think that's true. This gap right here, I'm sure that's what this has to do with. But, yeah. Wow. We're gonna have to figure that out, I think. At least we can say that the menu looks good now. We solved that issue, and we do have, the player cannot break the game by trying to get off screen. Level 1 also needs the border, but I mean, that's actually really simple. We should just copy and paste, especially if it's the same size. Level 1, level 2, if they have borders, this is done, right? And then we want to move on to level 3. We want to say level 3 will be great if we can make a maze. Our wall prototype scene shows us we can do cool stuff. But there is a case we didn't actually... It's like we want this. But why wasn't that? I'm just confused. And I don't know why. We'll have to come back and figure that out. But what we did was make prefabs in a way that our character can go through and we can lay down very quickly. What we made here on this test scene was made super quick, and it does work great for our character. So cool. I suppose making the border around the frame is a separate problem, and I didn't think of it that way, but I guess it is. We tested, and it turns out it's different. So mazes, sure. The edge around the frame is different. So we'll work on that. Maybe Design Workshop can solve that problem for us. We just come in and make levels. Wouldn't that be nice? Because I went over again. That tends to happen. I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to organize this, because this hierarchy is ugly now. There's lots of things that make it difficult to find what we need. Let's create an empty folder for now. Let's call it environment. Now, this is not a folder, and I'm going to make sure it is zeroed out. That would be also, I could just reset it. It is not a folder. It's actually a game object, but I'm going to treat it like a folder for now, and we will discuss the dangers of that. Maybe Design Workshop can make us folders. That would be great. I'm just going to shift select all of them, all the children, and I'm going to drag them on top of this parent I just made called environment. Boom. So now it's parented under it, and I can just collapse it. See, now it really does act like a folder. Right? Main camera, directional light, these things, and the environment, all the walls. And I can select that, and that is indeed all the pieces. All right. So that's just organized better. Save it. Let's get out. You were very patient with me. Thank you. This has been an ape in a jungle who likes to make games as well as play games. And, funny that. Sorry, I'm gonna jump back in here and do this to keep it straight. We made this game, and we're starting to make levels for this game. There we go. The stream that I'm looking at is behind by quite a bit. Why? Oh, yeah, it's behind by a lot. I apologize. It's difficult for me to keep track of it. Okay, because it is delayed. We made this game. We're making levels for it now, and this cartoon ape in a jungle enjoys making games as well as playing games. And so if you're interested in that, then come by. And when you do, please do Command Thai, because Command Thai lets me know you're here. And if you don't do that, I simply don't know you're here. This has been proven over and over again. People come by, and I have no idea. But in a jungle, that's just the way it is. The jungle's a dangerous place, and our head is on a swivel. We're focused on other things, and so you gotta nudge this ape and say Command Thai. Until then, have fun, do well, be good, stay safe. See ya.